told your friend you're not okay.
Top K-pop returned with a story that shook the entire industry. That night, the world didn't just witness a winner. The world witnessed the birth of a new legend. A legend named Jungkook. The public army was stunned by a moment that instantly became one of the greatest achievements in K-pop history. Of the thousands of voices echoing across the international stage, only one name ultimately stood at the pinnacle. One voice that transcended national boundaries, cultures, and languages. One vocal that wasn't just heard, but felt in the bones. And that night, the entire world seemed to stop when the official announcement echoed from the magnificent stage. Jungkook was named Best K-pop Vocalist in the World 2025 at the most prestigious music awards of the year. The atmosphere that had been filled with chatter and laughter instantly turned into a tense silence. The top artist sat up straight, the producers fell silent, and millions of viewers around the world held their breath. On the giant screen, the list of nominees appeared one by one, big names with extraordinary vocal abilities. But all of that was just a warm-up before the world witnessed the extraordinary climax. As the golden envelope was opened and, as soon as the presenter uttered the two words that dominated the global trending list, Jungkook, the entire room erupted into a sea of applause, cheers, and uncontrollable shock. No one sat down. Everyone stood. Musicians from around the world gave a standing ovation without hesitation. Even before Jungkook stepped onto the stage, the internet was already awash with euphoria. Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube timelines were all filled with one name. It was as if the entire world had decided to celebrate this truly monumental moment simultaneously. But this victory wasn't just a trophy. It was the result of a long journey for a boy from Busan who once had a simple dream: to sing. From a small practice room to the world stage, from relentless practice to international concerts with millions of spectators, Jungkook built his career in a way that was never easy. His voice wasn't just a natural talent, but also the result of boundless dedication. He learned to master every vocal technique: steady breathing, controlled resonance, precise vibrato, airy falsetto, and dynamics that could immerse listeners in every second of his performance. Jungkook isn't just a singer with his vocal prowess is undeniable. He's a master of emotion. He doesn't just deliver lyrics, he draws the listener into the song's deepest feelings. Every high note is a burst of energy, while his low notes flow softly, breaking down the defenses of anyone who hears them. In an era where every artist is trying to stand out, Jungkook doesn't need to try hard to stand out. His voice speaks for itself. His journey to the stage that night was filled with iconic moments that cemented his reputation as one of the best vocalists of his generation. His performances are always the talk of the town. No stage he steps on is without leaving a mark of legend. From live broadcasts where his voice remains steady despite high-intensity dancing, to international collaborations that have music critics praising his vocal sophistication. Every solo project he releases goes viral. Every song he releases hits the charts worldwide. Every video, every fan cam, every small moment, it all feels like further proof that he's on a different level. His awards night was more than just a victory. The world greeted it like a sign that a new era had begun. Global media outlets raced to write headlines. Billboard wrote about the historic achievement of a vocalist who set a new standard for the next generation. Rolling Stone called it a vocal that can captivate the emotions of anyone who hears it. From Europe to Latin America, from Korea to the Middle East, everyone expressed their admiration for a singer who possessed not only a golden voice but also a sincere heart. As Jungkook stood on stage, the spotlights cast a serenity that contrasted sharply with the chaos outside. With his trophy in hand, he spoke in a soft voice that shattered the silence of the grand hall. His words were simple, yet it was precisely that simplicity that touched the hearts of millions. Thank you. I don't know if I deserve this, but I will continue to learn. Thank you for always listening to my voice. That humility is another reason why the world loves him unconditionally. Meanwhile, after the global euphoria surrounding Jungkook's win as Best K-pop Vocalist in the World 2025, the world hasn't stopped talking about the grand moment. But one significant reaction immediately erupted behind the scenes in the industry, one that came from the headquarters of one of the largest and most influential entertainment companies of our time, HYBE. If the world greeted Jungkook's win with cheers, HYBE greeted it with pride that almost felt like a national celebration. As soon as the news of the win was announced, the atmosphere inside the HYBE building transformed like a command center receiving news of a major mission. The staff who had worked so hard to support Jungkook's career couldn't contain their emotions. Many cried, many hugged their colleagues, and some senior managers even reportedly stood up and applauded when Jungkook's name was called on stage. HYBE knows exactly how long and arduous Jungkook's path has been. They witnessed up close how the young man who came to Seoul from Busan worked tirelessly, often practicing late into the night when the hall was nearly empty, how he repeated the same vocal techniques hundreds of times without complaint, how he constantly sought feedback and never felt good enough. HYBE witnessed it all. And that's why when he won a global award of this magnitude, the entire company felt a sense of pride beyond words. One HYBE executive reportedly told his staff, "Jungkook isn't just an artist, he's the gold standard. He's proof that hard work, discipline, and sincerity can elevate someone to heights never before imagined." And those weren't just sweet words. HYBE truly knew Jungkook was a global asset. In recent years, every global project Jungkook made, from his solo albums to international performances to world-class collaborations, had skyrocketed. And that awards night was official confirmation to the entire industry that what they were building with Jungkook was no longer just about K-pop. It was global music history. Even before the night was over, HYBE had posted an official statement expressing their pride. But what surprised many was the tone of the message. It was deeply personal, deeply emotional, as if speaking not just as a company but as a family watching their son achieve his greatest dreams. They wrote that Jungkook had transcended genre boundaries, that he had proved that Korea can produce international class vocalists, and that they will support him every step of the way to a bigger stage. And sure enough, HYBE's pride didn't stop at words. Behind the scenes, they were immediately preparing a series of major projects that were now more likely to come true after this international recognition. Producers, creative directors, and even the global strategy team were already discussing new steps to elevate Jungkook to even greater heights. Internal rumors suggested that HYBE was preparing collaboration projects with several global artists, as well as potential appearances at prestigious international music festivals. Now, after winning a global award that places him atop the list of the world's best vocalists, HYBE knows one thing more clearly than ever: Jungkook is not only ARMY's pride, not just Korea's pride, but also their pride as the home that believed in his dream from the very beginning. And for Jungkook himself, this win is certainly a driving force that makes him even more determined to keep growing. The world now realizes that his voice is not just an instrument, but a cultural heritage. HYBE understands that perfectly, and they are ready to stand behind him every step of the way. That pride was even more palpable when the cameras captured the faces of the HYBE staff present at the event. They were smiling, some holding back tears, and all stood in reverence as Jungkook took the stage with the trophy. They knew that night wasn't just Jungkook's victory, it was their victory, BTS's victory, HYBE's victory, and the victory of everyone who once believed in the power of a Busan boy's voice that was now shaking the world. Top K-pop will continue to follow every update, every new project, every grand stage, and every historic step Jungkook takes after this win, because his journey to global glory is far from over. In fact, that night only opened the door to a new era, the Jungkook era.